Hi there, it's Chris Yee from Life Abundant Consulting, and I am sitting in my childhood childhood home backyard here in California. And the reason I'm away from my hometown of Seattle is because I went to Las Vegas to help a friend whose mother died unexpectedly, and actually a family member of mine just died a couple days ago. And what I wanted to talk to you today about was community and the value of community. I wanted to first just recognize that we're all pretty aware of the dangers of loneliness, especially after someone close to you has died, as has been the case in my friend's mother who died and whose her husband is now um, dealing with the idea of being alone, and also my family member who died and who her husband is also dealing with the idea of being alone. In both instances, there's upswelling of community and family that came to um, really support each other, all of who are grieving, but in particular, the person who is finding themselves to now live a life that is, potentially more alone than they were before. Um, and there's a really powerful statistic out there that people who live in loneliness, and that's not to say that that's the same as living alone, but feeling socially isolated or not connected, people who live in loneliness have a 45% chance of dying early. So a higher mortality um, in living in an experience of loneliness or social isolation. Now, what does that mean with regards to other risk factors that we think about? So, somebody who is obese, for instance, they have a risk of dying early, um, which is 20%. So, if you're obese, then your chances of living or of dying earlier than expected would be 20%. And if you're somebody who drinks excessive amounts of alcohol every day, your chances of dying early is 30%. And if you're somebody who is living in loneliness and feeling disconnected, then your chances of dying early is 45%. So that to me was a pretty astounding number to recognize the risk involved um, with feeling lonely, essentially, or living in loneliness. And just to reiterate that a feeling of loneliness can occur even when you are around people. I'm sure that you have experienced being at a party or going to a concert or being in a hotel that's surrounded by people, yet you feel lonely. You don't feel connected to the people around you. Um, and on the other hand, you could be someone who lives alone, yet you feel very connected to people in your life through going out for meals together or making phone calls and talking to each other. So um, it's really this feeling of social isolation and not being connected to people where the risk lies in a premature death. So this is something that has been, really high in my mind for a number of years, as I've wanted to and been thinking a lot about how to create community in my life. And I think about the number of communities that I'm a part of and how to strengthen them. So, of course, I have the community of my family, I have the community of my neighbors, I have the community of my Capoeira group, I have the community of coaches who are part of the Life Mastery Institute. I have the community um, of Lindy Hop dancers. I have the community of men. So there's many different communities that I'm a part of, and the question is how much am I really engaging or feeling connected to these communities? Um, and I would say that I'm probably not the most skilled in engaging and creating connection in these communities. And I know that some of you do have a lot of skill in that. And I would be really appreciative if you could share with the rest of us some ways in which you've found to develop community, as many maybe other people who are watching this, or even myself, will oftentimes have a feeling of loneliness and how to combat that. So, I'm doing this video today for three reasons. Really, the first one is to highlight the value of community and friends and being a part of a social connection of sorts. So, if after this video you are holding higher value in creating community or creating social connections in your life, then I'm quite happy. And I think that the evidence around why that should be important in your life is that, again, 45% of people who live in a feeling of loneliness will die prematurely, which is much greater percentage than the, the, the likelihood of dying early because you're obese or because you're drinking excessively. The second thing I wanted to do this video is because I would like, as I am a part of this community right now in sharing with you and talking to you, to get your wisdom and your skills in how to create community even more. How do you do it? What are some of the things you do? Some of the things that I think about doing is I have a group of friends that we call on Sunday from 11 a.m. till 12:30, and we talk on the phone and share ideas. That's a weekly event that I've scheduled into my life. We try to have our neighbors, friends, and their kids come over and make dinner together on a regular basis. Those are a couple of strategies that I've been changing my behavior in and creating more value around, so there could be more community and connection in my life. But I'd love to hear from you guys some of the strategies that you use, because I really do believe it's a skill. It's not whether or not someone is worthy of your time, but really valuing that community is important, and then having the skill to know how to show your appreciation, love, and value for the other person. And I'd love to hear. I know that a couple of my friends, they're writing me thank you notes, every time we have a gathering together, and that is a way to follow through and really make me feel that I know that they're connected to me in some way. And lastly, the third part of what I wanted to really get across from this video today is to recognize that you are in community right now with people in your life. And sometimes we get a little bit busy with our life and value other things. Maybe it's work and success and making money. Maybe it's taking care of our kids. Maybe it is going off and traveling and having a good time. And that sometimes we take for granted or put on autopilot the relationships and community that we're currently in. And even sometimes I know that I feel like I am lonely. But when I open my eyes to the idea of gratitude and what's already in my life, then I can see that there is a wealth of connections that I have. And so to encourage you also to hold gratitude for the relationships that you currently have right now, and maybe even share that you value the relationships that you currently have. Call somebody, write them a letter, write them an email, send them a picture. Maybe do something to strengthen that relationship that you already have and that is already abundant in your life. And I think that can really stave off the feeling of loneliness, if that is something that occurs in your life, and also strengthen the community that you're already engaged in. So just want to say good talking to you all. I'm so happy to be a part of your community, and we will talk soon next Friday. Okay, have a great week. Bye.